Our experience begins with a statement that says the following is based on true unexplained events. We see the inside of a house, where a girl stands looking out of the window. Soon a woman appears behind her to say she can tell the girl likes it. The girl is Samantha, our protagonist, who turns around to say it is perfect. She reminds the woman of her daughter. After several warm exchanges between the two of them, Samantha is given the house. The woman tells her to promise to take good care of it, and Samantha does. We see how excited she is upon acquiring the house. As she walks outside during the opening credits, the look and sound of the film gives off a very 70s or 80s feel, despite it being rather modern. Supposedly, our story takes place in that era, but movies that show in earlier times still usually look modern. This one, however, can easily trick us into thinking we are experiencing a movie from those years. Eventually, she arrives at the door of her dorm, which has a sock hanging on its handle. She tries talking to a girl named Heather inside. Since no one answers her, Samantha goes outside in frustration. She crosses a bulletin that has a job offering for a babysitter. In a few seconds, she returns for it to take the phone number. Then she calls the number from a payphone, leaving a message because no one answers. She says she is very interested in the job. While she walks away, something strange happens. The payphone rings. Samantha stops to look around before coming back to it. Answering it, she is told by a man he got her message. He wants to meet her. The man says he will see her at a proposed meeting spot, prompting Samantha to ask if he intends to meet now. But he is no longer on the line. Almost everything about that phone call was weird. After that, she goes back to the door of her dorm. The sock is gone now, so she walks into her room. We see Heather sleeping on top of some guy in bed. Samantha enters to collect her belongings. Once she has them, she goes to sit on the stairs somewhere. She's waiting for the man who told her where they should meet. Unfortunately, as time passes, she learns that no one is coming. The poor girl is forced to leave. The next scene has her at a restaurant with her friend, Megan. Samantha describes to her the house she just moved into. She tells her friend that she will see it soon. Afterward, the girl worries about how she will afford the house. Megan assures her that everything will be okay. We find out that Samantha only has $84 in her bank. If money becomes an issue, Megan wants her friend to know that her father can always help. Yet Samantha doesn't want Megan to ask for his support. Megan then says that it's weird and annoying, the way the man on the phone stood Samantha up today. She recommends that her friend gets another job. However, what Samantha wants is something easy, which is what made being a babysitter appealing to her. We learn there is a slight inconsistency with her desiring the job. It's that she doesn't even like kids. Megan advises that Samantha rip up all the posters that the man has put up as revenge for standing her up. But our protagonist isn't the vengeful type. We can tell by the way she looks and how she acts that she is a kind girl. Following this, she comes to her dorm to relax on her bed. Her roommate, Heather, is now sleeping alone. Suddenly, Samantha visits the public washroom to sit in a stall, feeling troubled. Soon enough, she tells herself to hold it together. She goes back to bed, where she begins to eat her bar. At that moment, Heather wakes up to ask what time it is. She receives the specific answer that it's night. She also tells Samantha that someone called her. The girl is curious to know whom, possibly expecting the man who's looking for a babysitter. Heather doesn't know. She left his number on her roommate's desk. Therefore, Samantha starts looking for it. Upon finding it, she calls the number. The man picks up the phone as she is leaving a message. He is glad that she called him back. After apologizing about what happened this morning, he says he spoke to another girl and found out she was unreliable for the job. He still wants Samantha to babysit tonight. The man will even double her payment, so she will get $100. On top of that, the job is easy, he says. In the next scene, Samantha gets into a car with Megan. While they ride, the latter complains about how everyone is talking about the eclipse that was just mentioned on the radio. She would rather that the moon exploded. Then Megan tells her friend she wants to tell her something, but she has to promise not to get mad. Samantha can't promise something like that. This leaves Megan with no choice except to show her that she took down all the posters the man placed on bulletins regarding the babysitting job. She went through with it because she knew Samantha would not. Although the man called her back, Megan still justifies her behavior due to what the man did. After that, Megan pleads to stay with her friend there at the house. She promises to behave herself. Eventually, the duo arrives at the house. From the outside, it certainly looks like a fancy place. After the front door gets open, the girls are slightly taken aback by the person they see. It is probably because of how tall he is. Samantha shakes his hand, telling him she's the babysitter. The tall man introduces himself as Vincent Ullman. He follows this by complimenting their looks. Inside the house, Vincent tells Samantha it will be a relief to get this night behind them. We learn that he arrived in this town recently. He tells them they live in a very good place on the planet, for it will allow them to get a clear view of the eclipse tonight. Megan must hate having to hear about it again. In a short time, Vincent wants to talk to Samantha alone. This makes her defensive friend feel somewhat doubtful, yet Samantha follows him into another room. There, Vincent tells her that he's only paying one person for their time at the house. His babysitter quickly assures him Megan is just her ride. He has to tell her that his wife is on edge regarding the situation. Meanwhile, Megan sits alone in the other room, taking the candy that's in the bowl. One isn't enough, she has to put a few more in her purse. Vincent tells Samantha he hasn't been completely honest with her. There is no child for her to take care of. This job is actually for his wife's mom. This information instantly prompts the girl to say she has no experience with that sort of job. As she stands up to leave, he stands up with her. From his quick mimicking response, we can see he wants her to stay. He says she doesn't have to do anything medical, or even much of anything. The man has struggled to get anyone to do this job. It seems like if Samantha leaves, he will be out of luck. After apologizing for his lie, he says what she's going to do is not that different from what she expected to do. However, the girl still wants to leave. This is all too strange for her, despite the respectful demeanor Vincent possesses. At that point, he wants to double her payment again to $200. Since she is still thinking about it, he does not hesitate to add another $100 to that. If he wants a deal, she tells him he will have to upgrade the payment to $400. That is increasing the initial payment by 8 times. The scene changes to Megan leaving the house in disappointment. Samantha runs after her. We discover the cause of Megan's disappointment is that her friend agreed to take a very strange job, something they agreed to abandon beforehand. But Samantha wants her to understand it's $400 for 4 hours. This is someone who needs the money to pay for her new house. With it, she could cover the first month's rent right away. Once Samantha says it sounds too good to be true, Megan replies that it probably is. Since our heroine stands her ground, Megan ends up agreeing with her, though she harbors mixed emotions. While she is driving away, she badmouths Samantha for her decision. She stops to have a smoke somewhere along the road. Suddenly, a man appears out of nowhere to give her a light for her cigarette. Of course, she is more than startled by his presence. It almost took her life, she says. To show her that he is safe, he hands the lighter to Megan so she can ignite the cigarette. After doing that, she asks him where he came from. Yet he has a concern of his own. He asks if she's the babysitter. When he gets a negative from her, he perfunctorily shoots her to the poor girl's demise. What a way to start the night, with a literal bang. The car starts rolling away. Therefore he gets in to stop it. The wicked stranger sits there, smoking her cigarette. Whoever he is, he seems to contemplate what he should do now. Back at the house, Vincent hands Samantha half of her payment at the start. He even throws in some extra for her to feed herself. Currently, his wife's mother is asleep. He tells Samantha that the woman is quite independent, and the girl will likely not even see her. He then goes upstairs for his wife. Samantha sits there, ignorant of the dreadful fact that her friend has already perished. She overhears Vincent talking to someone about how they should stop worrying. In a few seconds, Samantha sees a lady come out of a room. She sees the girl, quickly learning what she's there for. The woman tells Samantha she is a godsend. In turn, Samantha says she is glad to do it. Vincent's wife introduces herself as Vivian. Samantha tells her she didn't expect her to come from that area, because Vincent went upstairs for her. Vivian tells her she was in the basement looking for her fur coats, so we wonder who Vincent was conversing with upstairs. Perhaps he was talking to her mother, or even to someone on the phone. Vivian tells the girl she looks somewhat young to be in college, which is something everyone tells her. She also compliments her looks, just like Vincent did. Soon the man starts coming down, glad to see that his wife has already met Samantha. They exchange a few more words prior to the couple exiting the house. Samantha watches them enter their car from the window. Later, she calls Megan from the landline. Since the call goes to voicemail, she hangs up. Trying to call a second time gives her the same result. This time, she leaves a message for her friend. It is strange for her that Megan isn't home yet. She says she is sorry if Megan is angry, along with saying the place is not that bad. Afterward, she looks at the money that was given to her and decides to call for pizza. Getting asked for the address, she has to find it. The cord on the landline seems to suffer as she stretches it across the room to locate the address. After doing that, she orders the pizza. The man tells her he will be there in 30 minutes. Then she goes to turn on a few lamps. She takes some time to look around the house. It is quiet for the time being. The place is also cozy and luxurious. A harpsichord is there to prove the latter. Samantha plays a few notes on it. The instrument certainly has a unique sound. After playing, she looks upstairs before cautiously venturing up there. On the second floor, she sits on a chair behind a work desk. It's all quite nice there, maybe making her wonder what goes on inside the house regularly. She takes out some strange glasses from one of the desk's drawers, wearing them for a few seconds. Another room is decorated with a fish in a fishbowl, in addition to some trophy. It is all still very quiet. The curious girl enters many rooms, checking to see the house she will spend a few hours inside. Eventually, she returns downstairs. As she begins to eat a snack, she hears something outside. So she looks out the window. Nothing except the darkness of the night is out there. With nothing to do but wait for her pizza, Samantha starts watching the television. The anchor man informs her that the eclipse is underway. It is a total lunar eclipse. An anchorwoman says that many observers are watching this spectacular event. She adds that it is visible from every continent, with the exception of Antarctica. At midnight, everyone will see the moon vanish into Earth's shadow. Then Samantha turns off the TV. We know that Megan would have turned it off much earlier. Shortly after, she turns on her cassette player and starts playing billiards. She's not going to let her being at such a house go to waste. She even dances around the house. Others might find it scary to be there alone at night, with that many rooms. Yet our heroine disregards such a mindset. One might even say she is having a bit too much fun. She dances her way upstairs. where she accidentally knocks over a vase. The impact it has on the floor causes it to shatter. She's going to receive $400 for her watch of the house. However, let us imagine if that vase cost around that much money. Her stay could end up being for nothing. Samantha rushes to clean up the mess she made. While she does it, she opens another door nearby. There are fur coats there that she remembers Vivian telling her were in the basement. She also finds some photos there. One photo has some different people standing near the car that Samantha saw belongs to Vincent and Vivian. She takes the photo with her outside. All she sees is a van out there before going back in. But what we see is someone walking behind it. We don't see who it is, though we can guess it is the man who took Megan's life. Inside, Samantha calls Megan again to no avail. She gets anxious over it now. It makes her collect a knife and enter the washroom. She tells herself to hold it together. Soon she hears a sound, prompting her to open the door to hear it better. Samantha goes to investigate. Standing at the bottom of the stairs, she looks up to quietly call out to Vivian's mother. No one answers her, so the girl ascends the stairs with caution. She continues to move silently within the hallway. She then stands near the door Vivian's mom is supposed to be behind, asking if everything is okay in there. Meanwhile, we get to observe that the room is actually occupied by 3 lifeless people. There is also a painted pentagram on the floor. Unfortunately, our heroine does not open the door to witness this horror. Had she done that, she would have called it a night to start planning her escape. Instead, the sound returns to recapture her attention. Samantha walks in its direction, which leads her to open a door that shows her more stairs going up. But she does not get to ascend because the doorbell suddenly buzzes, causing the poor girl to fall. She rushes downstairs to discover it is her pizza. The scared girl tosses the $20 bill Vincent gave her at the deliveryman, telling him to keep the change. The door wasn't even kept open for 3 seconds. She sits on the floor, hugging the pizza box. The man tells her to have a good night. After that, we see who the deliveryman is. It is the man who took Megan's life. Something very strange is happening here. He looks into the window of the house for some reason. We know that he knows something. Inside, Samantha sets the pizza down prior to calling Megan again. This time, the machine tells her that her call cannot be completed. Frustration now swims together with her fear. She has to tell herself that everything is fine, along with her friend being fine. Then the phone rings. Samantha picks it up, believing it is Megan. Yet it's a lady named Gloria with emergency services. Samantha tells her that everything is fine. She didn't mean to call. Afterward, the girl sits on the couch and starts eating her pizza. To make it better, she starts watching TV. It happens to show her a very appropriate. However, it's only appropriate for us, not her. Therefore, she turns it off. Neither the television nor the pizza is to her liking. Something is wrong with it, prompting her to throw it away. She even washes her mouth due to its unpleasant aftertaste. Shortly after, Samantha starts slowly ascending the stairs again. She comes near the room she never entered to attempt to listen to what could be in there. We are shrouded in mystery regarding what is going on. Subsequently, Samantha enters the washroom to become startled by the discovery of lots of hair in the bathtub. Next, she enters the place where she was standing when the doorbell startled her. Now, she starts going up those stairs. It leads to a door that she looks at in fear. Her attempt to turn on a lamp there makes it undergo a short circuit. At that moment, the lunar eclipse takes place. Samantha sees someone walking behind the door. It doesn't take long for a hand to start slowly opening it. The girl starts getting dizzy. Perhaps it's the fear. As she is leaving, the dizziness grabs hold of her until she loses consciousness in the hallway. The next scene has Samantha lying restrained on the floor. She wakes up in fear, finding herself surrounded by numerous amounts of candles. There is also a pentagram beneath her. Of course, she yells and tries to free herself. To supplement this chaos, Vincent enters the room with Vivian, both dressed in black robes. Megan's murderer is also there, working with them. Furthermore, a fourth person with a deformed face seems to complete the evil of the situation. The deformed one draws a pentagram on Samantha's stomach with blood. He then cuts himself to acquire more blood, which drips into an animal skull. The blood is leaked into the restrained girl's mouth. Since she now struggles extra hard, she gets her hand free to slap the deformed person. After that, she frees herself entirely to start running away. Once she spits out the blood, the man who ended Megan tries to get to her. But he doesn't have the same luck dealing with our heroine, for she puts her finger in his eye. Following this, she runs into another room where she trips over the lifeless Megan. For some reason, she was brought into the house. Samantha collects the knife she had earlier and runs upstairs. Her friend's murderer meets her at the other of the hallway. She has a knife, yet he has a gun. Having the advantage, he uses it to shoot her down. He made sure it was non-lethal, because they do not intend to eliminate her. However, upon coming close to her, the girl slices his neck to his demise. Megan is avenged. When Samantha runs elsewhere, Vivian finds the man lifeless. Samantha lies on the floor, suffering and covered in blood. She gets haunted by the image of a monster. Soon Vivian finds her, before dragging her into another room. She informs the troubled girl that no matter what she does, it won't stop. Then the woman comes to the window, asking God to talk to her. The response she gets is a stab in her back by Samantha. She follows this action by going downstairs to use the phone. What prevents her is another ghastly image intruding into her mind. At that point, she runs out of the house. As she does, Vincent comes out, yelling out to her that she must wait for him. Of course, she does not listen to the madman. She runs into a cemetery. Her falling to the ground allows Vincent to catch up to her. But she has the gun now, which she points at him, asking what they did to her. Vincent tells her that an unspecified entity is calling out to her, and that she should listen to them. He adds that someone has chosen her. It is her destiny to accept him. Yet Samantha isn't evil, therefore she strongly objects. Vincent gets on his knees, saying she could take his life. He is, after all, just a messenger who carries out the words of the unspecified being. Seeing how willing he is to accept his demise, Samantha points the next scene has an anchor man informing us that the eclipse lasted faster than thought theoretically possible. As he talks, we move slowly through the hall of a hospital until we stop at a room where Samantha lies unconsciously in bed. She miraculously survived the gunshot wound. A nurse comes to her, saying she will be okay. With her hand on the girl's stomach, she adds that both of them will survive, implying that our heroine is pregnant.